There's a power you felt right after you chose not to say that thing, right after you walked away instead of exploding. It wasn't weakness, it was control, and it changed the outcome of everything. This video is for you if you've ever been tired of your own reactions, tired of losing control only to regret it when it's too late. If you felt that, listen closely. And if you want more content like this, content that speaks to the quiet wars inside you, like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs silence more than noise. And leave a comment as you listen. Your story matters here. Now, let's begin with something honest. Most of us don't explode because the situation deserves it. We explode because something older gets triggered, something buried, something we never learned to hold. We don't react to what's happening now. We react to what's still echoing from back then. Someone raises their voice, and your body prepares for war, not because of them, but because of every time your voice was silenced. You think you're responding to the moment, but you're actually responding to your memory of being powerless. And so we lash out, or we go cold, or we withdraw. We think that's power. It's not. It's protection. Think back. When was the last time you wished you could take back your reaction? Not because it was wrong, but because it wasn't really you. If something's coming up now, I invite you to comment below. Just one sentence, one memory, one scar. Speak or stay silent, but stay with us. You're not broken. You're just tired of being triggered. And what you do after that feeling is where your real power begins. You see, reaction is the mind's attempt to escape discomfort. It's fast, loud, defensive. But strength is rarely loud. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, don't become what hurt you. You don't have to answer every insult. You don't have to fight every battle. Sometimes the most dangerous move is stillness. Now imagine this. You're walking down the street. Someone bumps into you. They don't say sorry. They don't look back. Your chest tightens. Your jaw locks. You feel the wave rising. But then, you pause. You let the moment pass through you like wind through an open window. You don't chase it. You don't hold it. That is not weakness. That is mastery. Reactivity wants to prove something. Stillness doesn't need to. Because deep down, you know, not every offense deserves an answer. Not every pain needs an audience. Let this be your mantra. I do not react. I respond. And sometimes, I don't respond at all. And in that silence, a new kind of power rises. Not the kind that controls others, Ben, but the kind that controls you. This is where your transformation begins. There is a moment. So brief most people miss it. It lives between the insult and the reaction, between the wound and the scream, between what happens to you and what you choose to do with it. That space is everything. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the unspeakable, once said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." The Stoics knew this before science ever proved it. They trained their minds to expand that space, to stretch it, to live in it, because they understood. Power doesn't come from reaction. Power comes from pause. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time someone triggered you and you didn't respond? Not because you were scared, but because you were present. That's not detachment. That's discipline. That's sovereignty. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Now imagine this. Someone speaks to you with disrespect. Your old self would fight back, defend, explain. But this time, you breathe. You feel the heat, but you don't follow it. You let their storm pass and without letting it enter you. That's the space I'm talking about. Not suppression, not pretending, but seeing clearly and choosing consciously. This space is your sanctuary. It's where you stop being a puppet pulled by emotion and start becoming a presence led by clarity. If you've ever tasted this kind of control, share it in the comments. Even one word. Let someone else know it's possible, because the world will keep pressing your buttons. But you don't have to be a machine. You can be the silence between the noise, the calm between the fires, the space where real power lives. Not every truth needs to be spoken. Not every feeling needs to be voiced. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is hold it. We live in a culture that worships expression. Say how you feel. Speak your mind. Let it out. But the Stoics believed something deeper. What you choose not to say reveals who you really are. Because silence is not weakness, it's self-respect. You don't have to respond to disrespect with more disrespect. You don't have to shout to prove you're right. You don't have to explain your worth to those who don't see it. What you don't say, what you don't react to, what you let pass without comment. That's where your real character begins. Seneca wrote, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." There is strength in not defending yourself. Not because you're guilty, but because you've outgrown the need to be understood. Imagine this. Someone accuses you of something you didn't do. Your instinct is to defend, explain, prove. But you don't. You look them in the eye, and you say nothing. Not out of fear, but because you've seen this game before. And you no longer play to win. You play to stay free. Now ask yourself, what have you been tempted to say? Just to feel in control? Just to relieve the pressure? What would happen if you didn't? If this chapter made you remember a moment when silence was your strength, share it below. Someone needs to hear that it's okay not to respond. Because silence is not surrender. It's strategy. It's poise. It's the quiet proof that you're not ruled by emotion. You're guided by something deeper. You are not your reaction. You are the force that can choose not to react. And that force grows stronger with every word you choose to leave unsaid. Impulse is fast. Presence is slow. One is survival. The other is sovereignty. Every time you resist the urge to react, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You return from the edge, from the place where old wounds try to speak for you. And in that return, something shifts. You stop reacting to life. You start responding to it with presence. Marcus Aurelius, facing betrayal, war, and illness, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." To revoke, that's the key. To interrupt the pattern. To choose instead of repeat. Let's bring it closer. You're in a conversation. Someone says something that triggers you. Maybe it's condescending, maybe dismissive. The familiar fire rises in your chest. But this time you do something different. You breathe. You feel the sensation, but you don't feed it. You observe the moment instead of reacting to it. You stay. Fully. This is presence. The ability to stay in your body, in your breath, in your truth, without needing to defend it. It's not cold detachment. It's conscious warmth. And when you do this, when you hold space instead of striking, you create something rare, emotional authority, not over others, over yourself. This is what turns pain into power. This is what transforms triggers into training. And if you've ever caught yourself mid-reaction, paused, changed direction, returned to calm, tell us in the comments. Because those moments, they matter more than you think. Not because you avoided conflict, but because you practiced freedom. Presence isn't natural. It's trained. And every time you choose it, you're rewriting the story your emotions have been trying to tell. The moment you realize you don't have to respond is the moment you become free. Not passive, not avoidant. Free. Free from needing to prove. Free from the addiction to being right. Free from the emotional chains that pull you into battles that leave you empty. Because here's the truth. Every time you react, something outside you decides who you are. But when you don't react, you decide. And that's where the deepest freedom begins, in the choice to not be pulled. Let's be honest. Some arguments don't need closure. Some comments don't need correction. Some people don't need answers because they're not asking from the heart. They're provoking from pain. You don't owe your peace to anyone's chaos. You don't owe your energy to anyone's trigger. Seneca once said, "To be provoked by insults is to admit they can touch you." But when you don't respond, when you don't bite the hook, when you let the fire burn out without throwing your own flame in, you rise, not above others, above your former self. And here's what most people never tell you. That kind of freedom feels lonely at first, because silence doesn't get applause, stillness doesn't trend, and not reacting won't get you validation. But what it does give you is yourself, clear, unshaken, untouched by the noise. So ask yourself, who would you be if you no longer reacted? Who could you become if silence became your strength? If this video stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like it, share it, subscribe if you haven't yet, and drop a comment below. Let us know what you're choosing to let go of today, not to be seen, but to stay sovereign. Because the less you respond to chaos, the more peace you invite into your life. In the beginning, you may have thought silence was weakness, that not reacting meant surrender, that choosing to walk away was losing. But now you know, true power lives in restraint, in the calm that doesn't need to announce itself, in the stillness that doesn't ask for recognition. You've walked through the fire of your own triggers and chosen not to burn others with it. You've learned to feel the storm and still not become it. This is strength, not the kind that overpowers, the kind that endures. So the next time someone pushes you, pause, not out of fear but out of clarity. The next time your anger rises, breathe, not to suppress it but to understand it. And the next time the world demands a reaction, remember, you owe no one your peace. You are not a reflex, you are a response. And sometimes the most powerful response is none at all. If this message echoed something inside you, if it mirrored a quiet struggle you've been holding, then don't let it fade. Like this video. Share it with someone who lives too close to the edge. Subscribe to stay close to voices that respect your silence, and tell us in the comments, what are you choosing not to respond to anymore? Not every story needs to be defended. Some just need to be outgrown. This is your strength now. Quiet, unshakable, yours.